All right, this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Um, I just want to come on and talk a little bit about what we saw last week in the NFL. A lot of good football and lots of reason for a lot of fans to be optimistic about their particular teams. A couple teams got blown out. Look like the Saints have opening day down to a science, but don't get too excited about that. We saw a couple years ago when they had a game rescheduled due to a storm, like what's moving through New Orleans area now. They had a home game against the Packers and they moved it to Jacksonville and they blew out the Packers that day at the Jaguar Stadium. So it's been like the last 4 or 5 years, the Saints, I don't know what they're doing, but they are putting together opening day game plans and they're working to perfection. Now, if anything can be learned from what the Saints are doing, all these teams, they sit all their players out doing the they sit all their players out during the preseason and they don't get the work that they need to get. And because of that, these teams usually start out slow. And that is not a good thing if you're trying to get to the playoffs, because oftentimes it all comes down to points and tiebreakers. And if you lose early season games, it comes back to bite you in the end. But today, I want to talk about the Ravens. If you know about the Ravens, they're all excited about trying to knock off Kansas City. But the problem with that is Kansas City know they're coming. And the Ravens, they seem to make all of these different moves to get into position to beat Kansas City, but they don't seem to make much of progress as far as I'm concerned. Now they go out and get Derrick Henry to improve their running game, but like I told you before, there's only one football. And if you got Jackson who wants to run the football, and you need Henry to run the football between the tackles, it's going to be pretty obvious who's going to get the ball most of the time. And I saw that in that game against the Chiefs. Henry, who can run the ball out of the shotgun, he prefers to be under center. But Jackson prefers to be in the shotgun because he can see the defense better and see where he can escape the best. So he wants to go on the shotgun. So you have a dichotomy there that don't always work together. So when Henry's in the backfield, whether he's in the eye or he's standing up, it's either going to be one or two things. They're going to give it to him or it's going to be play action. And when they go into the eye, you can definitely expect him to get it, especially early in the downs. And that was very clear. I am not a defensive coordinator, but I understand the game of football. And if it's me sitting here watching this in week one, what do you think is going to happen as the season goes on? Those defenses are going to tighten the screws down on the Ravens, and it's going to be harder to run the football. I don't care if they got the greatest running back of all time in his prime back there. You still got to stick it up in there when the other team know you're about to get the football. And the other thing, Jackson, he slimmed down because I think he's got it in his mind that he wants to react more this year and play. And to him, playing means running the ball more. He did a good job running the football, but the problem with that is how many times can he run the football like that every week before somebody put a shot on him and knock him out for a couple of weeks? It's not sustainable. So I've been criticized for going after Jackson, not because I have a dislike for him. It's because I'm telling you guys the obvious. When the game is on the line, the guy can't seem to make the play. If you look at this screen right here, you see the guy's foot on the line. This was the last play of the game. They called it a touchdown, but upon review, you can see that his right foot is on the line, so that is no touchdown. That was a good throw. But the problem is the play before that, he had a wide open Zay Flowers in the end zone, and he missed him. Now, I didn't have my glasses on at that time, so when I saw the play, I thought, sure, he caught the ball. But when he ran the next play, I thought that was for a two-point conversion to win the game. I didn't have my glasses on. But once I put my glasses on, that's when I realized what took place. He completely missed a wide open touchdown when the game is on the line. It's what I've been telling you all along. When the guy has to stand in there and throw the football to win the game, he has not shown that he can do it. Yes, this was a great throw in the end. Lively, he should have, make sure that he got his foot down. And that would have been a great ending to a bad series because the man With all the money he makes, and I could care less what he makes, if you make $5,000 and you get paid to make a throw, you can't miss a wide open receiver when the game's on the line. So if anything Jackson needs to work on, he has to get that football in there when it counts the most. Mahomes is doing it. A lot of other Brock Purdy, all those guys like that, they're doing it. But Jackson hasn't shown me he can do it, and it's killing me. And if it's killing me, and I could care less overall, it has to be killing his teammates. They won't say it because everybody loves the guy, but he's got to throw the football. It's killing him. So my point is overall is that the Ravens, yes, they look good, but the flaws that I thought I would see, I saw. Yes, Henry's going to run the football, but you're going to know pretty much when he's going to get it. And if you get him in third and long, Henry's coming out of the game. So that acquisition, while it's good, but it also puts a telescope on your offense to let everybody know what's coming. So the Ravens are going to have to be creative to solve that problem with Henry wanting to be under center and Jackson wanting to be in the shotgun. So that's just my take on the Ravens. I still think the Steelers, even though our quarterback situation is a little rough right now, but at the same time, they're going to get it all ironed out. And I think Russell Wilson, if he gets healthy, it should be okay. They got by the Falcons the other day, but that's not a good enough performance to beat even a team like Baltimore. Now, Baltimore again, they're going to be good. They're going to have a good regular season. They may even end up with the top seed again, but you can see what the defensive game plan is going to be to stop them moving forward. All right. So up next, I want to talk about Deshaun Watson. Last time we saw Watson, he was having an awful day against the Cowboys. He had a quarterback rating of like 9.4. He didn't really have a whole lot of time to throw. And when he did cork one, it was laying him out as he threw it. He missed Amari Cooper on one that should have been a touchdown. And the Cowboys pretty much outplayed them. Just like the Saints, the Cowboys seem to have it down for opening day. But just like the Ravens in a lot of ways, it's just regular season Cowboys. But in the playoffs, you know what's going to happen to them. But Dak Prescott, he signed a couple hours before this game. He became the highest paid player in NFL history for now until the next player signs a deal. But he got his money. He's getting $240 million with 231 guaranteed. So he's got no more pressures on him except to win. And the Cowboys have sold out with him. So they're going to ride with him until he gets it right. But I don't know if they got the right quarterback or not. That's definitely the way that the Browns are feeling. They don't feel like they got the right quarterback with Watson. They feel like they got a bum deal. Now, Watson had those legal troubles, and those charges ended up getting dismissed, and he came to Cleveland for a fresh start, but he hadn't really been on the field. So now, with everything supposedly behind him, this guy's ready to play a little football. Got a little rust on him, but again, he got beat on pretty bad against the Cowboys. But now he has other problems. It's now come out that he's been charged with more sexual assault allegations. That is the wrong thing that the Browns needed at this time because they need to come down to Jacksonville and they need to find a way to come together as a team and put all those distractions behind them. But with Watson with these new troubles behind him, that is not going to be the case. And then when you add the fact that the Jaguars, they're also hungry for a win. They had the game down in Miami won, but they fumbled it away in the end. They give up a big touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, and they lose on the field goal. But that was a game that they certainly should have won. Doesn't matter. They lost. So they're going to come back home, and they're hoping to get well against Cleveland. And this is welcome news to the Jaguars for the second week in a row, because last week they should have took advantage of Tyreek Hill with his legal troubles before the game. They didn't do that. So this is an opportunity for Jacksonville to get well. And with Watson seemingly distracted from all his particular troubles and the fans booing him, now people wanting him out and all of this, it's not a good time for Watson and the Browns. But they're going to come down here and they're going to take on the Jaguars. And the Jaguars look like to be in pretty good shape. But Watson himself, the last time he come to Jacksonville, he's won the last six that he played against Jacksonville, and those were his years with the Texans. So it's a good place for him to try to regain some kind of composure in his career, and it comes at a good time. But it's also a time that he's get a chance to reunite with an old college teammate. On the left, there's Trevor Lawrence, currently with the Jaguars, and then you see Deshaun Watson there, number two. This is from a game when they were both on the same team at Clemson. It's been anticipated that this would be a good battle throughout their careers as they advance through the NFL. But this is actually the first time that these two guys are going to compete against each other. Watson hadn't really played in the last couple of years, and now Lawrence is coming into his own. So this would be a big matchup for Clemson fans. They like to see stuff like this, and people always say who was the better quarterback, Watson or Lawrence. It doesn't matter because they both had success. But now in the NFL, it's completely different level, so that doesn't really matter either. So it should be a good battle between these two guys. But the talk is that Cleveland is trying to find a way to void the contract from Watson because of all this sexual assault stuff. He hasn't been convicted of anything, but it's been charged. But the Browns are trying to find a way to void this contract. So if that's going to happen, it's going to happen pretty quick. And I think that if Watson is able to play this game on Sunday, then all that stuff that people are talking about is probably going to go out of the window. But it should be an interesting matchup between the two former Tigers. And I'll be down there. I have my little camera with me. I'll be interviewing the fans, and it's going to be a great experience before and after the game. So if you're at the game, look outside in the parking lot. It'll be in a loud, bright blue. And come on over and say a few words about the game, and we can chop it up and discuss what happened during the battle that took place between the two Clemson Tigers. All right. So just to recap, I just want to come on and say a few things about the Ravens. I've been critical of the Ravens and Lamar Jackson. Again, not because I have anything against them or don't like them. I'm just calling it like it is. The man is doing great everywhere except when the game is on the line. He has not shown that he can put it in there in a timely fashion. He missed a wide open touchdown to tie the game the play before the so-called controversy with likely foot being on the line. There was no controversy. He stepped on the line, you're out of bounds. It's clear as day. There's nothing to debate. But what it is to debate, how long is it going to take before we start seeing Jackson be more consistent throwing the football? Because like I said before, if he can throw that football and they can get Henry going between the tackles, then the Ravens are going to be a hard out for anybody. I don't care who it is. But from what I seen the other night, they're going to be able to win some games in the regular season. But I can see it now. Those guys are already putting their game plan together for the Ravens for when the playoffs come around, because they can slow Henry. You got to hit Henry before he gets started. If he gets started and he starts taking off between them tackles, and then that opens the door for Jackson, who already running more than he did last year. That opens up another problem, inside, outside, and he can hit a few of those little out routes, maybe even catch one deep. Then, like I said, you got a problem with the Ravens. But until that happens, I don't see that the Ravens are going to advance any further than they did last year, because right now, defense coordinators are already putting their game plan together to beat the Ravens come January. At least as a coordinator, I would be. Forget all that stuff about, one at a time. You'll never survive like that, because if you don't have an idea about what you're going to do in the future against these opponents and you just show up and think you're just going to win that way, it's not going to happen. So if the Ravens don't find a way to get a harmonious running game between Jackson and Henry, then all that stuff, what they did in the offseason, just a flash in the pan. So I just had to slide that in there. But again, got a conjunction with Fango this weekend. Going to be outside the stadium after the game in Jacksonville. So come on by, talk to the old coach. Let's talk some football. But until then, I'm out. Sports for real.